Week 3 of the NFL is officially over, and I just have one question for y'all, man. What the hell is a field goal? Like, we genuinely don't know the answer to that question, man. Another week of Sunday chaos, and this one seems to be the most chaotic. But who knows? Maybe next week we'll top it. I don't think so. I don't know how possible it is. We've had 3 games come down to block field goals. But I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. I have my co-host here, as always, Oseji. And how do you feel about this week?
This was honestly one of the most chaotic weeks of football I have ever watched in my damn life. Missed field goals, blocked field goals, teams choking, teams getting belts. It was just bad all around, man.
And it started on Thursday, man, with your Miami Dolphins heading into Buffalo to face the Buffalo Bills.
Everything for this game, I expected us to lose by 30. And we did lose by 30 because it was going so well. It was going really well until the last drive. Game on the line. Tua. He looked that linebacker dead in his eyes and threw that ball directly to his hands. When I tell you for the first time since last season, I fell to my knees in my living room and just stood there. I don't know what happened. We was doing so well. Offense was actually rolling. Defense still trash. But I mean, what do I expect when 17 players are in the emergency room? I'm tired. Fire Mike McDaniels. Fire the GM. Tua, you're getting traded. Send it to New Orleans, bro. Arch Manning. I don't even want Arch Manning no more, bro. Give me Ty Simpson. That's it.
Bro, you got Quinn Ewers, bro.
What the fuck are we doing with Quinn Ewers? Zach Wilson? Quinn Ewers?
Hey, if all
quality quarterbacks, huh?
You have Zach Wilson. You got Quinn Ewers. You got a lot to look forward to, man.
Yeah, man. Zach Wilson, man. Zach Wilson. Yeah. Zach Wilson. New York Jets legend Zach Wilson.
Dolphins legend. Nah, Dolphins legend, man.
Oh yeah, Dolphins legend. Preseason legend Zach Wilson. Man, end of the season, bro. We're going 0-16.
Man, I would say that, you guys might be, you might be one of the worst teams in the league. I don't know what to tell you.
Actually, speaking of worst teams,
anyway,
what about your team? What about your team? Since we're just on the subject of worst teams, you know what I'm saying?
What?
What about them?
What are you talking about, man? What about anyways, let's move on to Sunday, man. Let's talk about the early slate of games. We'll move down to Washington. All right, Washington, D.C., the capital. The Commanders hosted the Raiders, and Ashton Jennings going to die. Ashton Jennings going to die behind this offensive line, and it's not going to be pretty, man. This man cannot get anything going, and I'm not gonna lie. I see all the memes like, Ashton Jennings doesn't have a Boise State offensive line. He's not playing Portland State. It's like, okay, first of all, he went from one of the better offensive lines in college football to the worst offensive line in the NFL. So I just don't think that's a great comparison, especially when he then has to play some of the better D lines in the league. He has to play Washington. He has a lot of guys on the defensive line and also a lot of linebackers who just like getting concussions, who just like having CTE. So going against guys like that, I don't expect Jamie to put up great numbers. But Marcus Mariota holding down the fort great in Washington, doing his job. He's not doing anything too crazy, but he's not supposed to. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that game.
Man, Pittsburgh and New England. You know what? When you get 5 turnovers from an opposing team, you would expect that team to beat the ever-living brakes off of who they're playing. But Pittsburgh, they don't believe in that. The offensive coordinator does not believe in that. Aaron Rodgers, albeit got 4th all-time now in the all-time leading touchdown leaderboard, but sadly does not feel like actually playing football after that. Was out here giving donations out to the Patriots after the Patriots out here giving massive donations to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Absolutely just an absolute train wreck what was going on down there at fucking New England, Pittsburgh. I don't know anymore, fam. What's going on in New England, man? I was hoping that they were going to be a legit team this week, but Drake May and the Patriots just believing, not playing football. 5 turnovers. 5. What do you even say to your team after that? Like, what are you supposed to tell your quarterback, your running back? What are you supposed to tell the whole team that after you just gave up 5 turnovers? Like, what do you say at that point? And then speaking of which, scratch that. What do you say to the defense for the Steelers and the offense? You got the ball given to you 5 times, and you still only won by 1 score. So, I mean, for Pittsburgh, you might want to call the IRS and have an audit done because y'all got robbed out of $160-something million for that entire defense. My God, bro. Hang it up, fam. And they're still at the top of the division, which makes me sick. Absolutely sick. Hey, man, that's all I got to say about that game. Jordan Love decided to wake up this Sunday, go down to Cleveland, and put on just go in his closet, pull out a 2000 ATL Falcons Brett Favre jersey, put it on, and say, you know what? This is how I'm going to play football today. That man went out there and played some of the worst offensive football he will probably ever play in his life. The Green Bay Packers did absolutely nothing on offense. I'm talking about piss poor football all around. Jordan Love throwing donations. At this point, I think he might be working for the Salvation Army with the way he was handing the Cleveland Browns that football. Packers, defense did all they could. They did everything they could to win that football game. But by God Almighty, Jordan Love looked at him and said, nah, that's not going to happen. We not winning this one, boys. And next thing you know, blocked field goal, gloriously blocked field goal. The Browns get the ball, drive straight down the field, kick the field goal. Browns take the W. Jordan Love is probably going to go off and beat the brakes off the Cowboys next week. But yeah, other than that, that's how that game went. Speaking of Cowboys, make sure y'all tune in next week. We'll be live on playback for the Cowboys and the Packers game. We will also have some Cowboys and Packers fans in playback live with us, reacting to the game. Tune in for that. Y'all don't want to miss that.
It's going to be a great watch through. But let's move on to another game on Sunday. That wasn't as chaotic, wasn't as crazy. The Colts and the Titans, and I'm just going to say this right now, man. Daniel Jones is scaring me. He's absolutely terrifying me. I don't like how good he's playing. I don't like how good the Colts are playing, not the Titans. You know, Jonathan Taylor went out there, put 3 touchdowns, and that's legitimately terrifying to me. And if Jonathan Taylor go out there, give out 3 touchdowns, and Daniel Jones out here playing like Peyton Manning, I still don't think he's throwing an interception. And it's getting scary out there, man. The Colts might actually just kill the South. You know, there's not a lot of competition out there. So, and as for the Titans, I say this every week, but I'll say this once again: Cam Ward is going to die. He is going to not survive behind this offensive line. But slowly but surely, he's getting his footing. Every little bit he can in this offense. But other than that, nah, the Colts are dominant. The Titans are the Titans. That's all I got to say about that.
Speaking of players almost dying, Matthew Stafford, I think it might be time for you to hang it up, man. You know that one song on TikTok when they got that one player who just played, you light my fire, that's what Matthew Stafford is doing right now. First beautiful drive of the game against the Eagles, interception. Matthew Stafford as of right now is look like he's on pace to throw a pick every single game of this season, and that is not a good thing. That man is playing retirement football. The same way Tony Romo looked in his last couple of seasons where, he can go out there, win you some games, maybe get you to the playoffs. That's what Matthew Stafford is. Like he looks very sad on me. Like at some points in time, I'm wondering, like, does this man want to go back home to his family? But anyway, speaking of which, disregard the Rams for a second. Eagles, offensive coordinator, you're getting fired. I am sorry. The first half of this game was some of the worst play calling I will ever see in my life. This man was running run plays when the Eagles are almost in the back of their end zone on 3rd and 19. I genuinely don't think he believes that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are part of this team whatsoever. Like, the only player I'm seeing being utilized is Saquon Barkley. And so at some point, Jalen Hurts just said, you know what, let me just turn off my headset real quick and start calling the plays myself. Because this man started throwing touchdown passes like he was Tom Brady against the Atlanta Falcons in the 4th quarter. So that's all I got to say about that. Shout out to the Eagles, got the W. Glorious blocked field goal because the Rams just don't like kicking field goals correctly. 2 of them at that. But yeah, shout out to the Eagles, get the W in Philadelphia. Rams, I will start to get a little concerned. Just a tad bit.
Let's move on down to Tampa Bay, man. They had the cream colored jerseys on. And Tampa Bay, man, Baker and the Bucs, they dominated. They were cruising to an easy win, it seemed like. It didn't seem like anything crazy was happening. That boy Todd Bowles over there chilling, chewing gum, is always looking confused every time the camera pans to him, even though they're winning the game. That's just a bad thing for a head coach. Every time he looks over, he's looking like he doesn't know what the hell is going on the field. And it seemed like it was going to be one of the easiest dubs in the world. It's against the New York Jets, starting Tyrod Taylor in the year of our Lord 2025. There's not a lot you expect from that team. Then the Jets proceeded to start coming back. The Jets then, they fought their way back into the game. They clawed. But again, Tampa Bay had a chance to easily close it out, and all they had to do was kick a field goal.
Oh, it's blocked! Field goal attempt is blocked! Scooped up and will be taken all the way for a Jets touchdown! Will McDonald!
And it was blocked and returned for a touchdown. And the freaky ass nigga, that head coach, man, he started doing crazy shit on the sideline, man, walking over there like the Grinch. He was popping off. They did the night seller. They were waving off the fans like they won. It's almost like they forgot they were the New York Jets. Baker got one last possession, clutched up out there, got the dub. Not much to write home about, Mecca Ibuka, probably one of the the best wide receivers in this draft class. Not even probably. He's running away with the best wide receiver in this draft class. And, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they probably should hold on to a lead like that next time, because it's not every once in a while a blocked field goal gets returned. I don't think you guys should bank on, coming back from that. So it's still a little bit better than holding on to leads. But other than that, Tampa Bay got the win. Baker for MVP. That's all I got to say about that game.
Well, anyway, let's stay in conference and go down to Atlanta and the Carolina Panthers. And I'm going to say this now, Michael Penix, you need to hang that jersey up and sit on the bench for the next 2 to 3 seasons. Because, oh my God, I don't know if I'm genuinely impressed. I don't know if having Kirk O'Chains come in the game or come in the game to pick up after you is worse, or having Bryce Young and that rest of that entire defense torch you for 30 points. I'm talking about straight belt to ass. Everything that could go wrong for Atlanta went wrong. Michael Penix Jr., take off the do-rag, fam. You don't deserve to wear that do-rag no more. Kirk Cousins, retire, fam. Hang it up. Everybody else on the team, I would request a trade right now if I were you. It doesn't look too bright for the Atlanta Falcons. But anyway, Bryce Young gets the W. Defense holds up. Multiple pick sixes, multiple interceptions. Great day to be a Panthers fan. I know Cam Newton's probably sitting in his podcast booth right now, probably about to throw his fedora at the TV screen because that's not him out there. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Carolina gets their first win of the season, 30-0, after folding the Atlanta Falcons. Speaking of folding, there's another team that got folded in the conference too this week. 2 other teams. Jordan, would you like to speak about that? Would you like to talk about that right now?
No, I don't think anybody got folded this week.
All right.
What you mean? Nothing happened. Man. There's nothing going on. Like, really? Let's talk about Duval. Got to do this every week. The Jags, man, they pulled off quite the upset. Although we even consider it upset anymore, I mean, let's have a real conversation about the Houston Texans. Man. Are they a good football team? I don't know. Maybe. They might be a good football team. They might not be. Jacksonville, they might be a good football team. They might not be. But they weren't expected to be that good. They weren't expected to have, guys like Brenton Strange out here playing great. I don't know. He turned into Rob Gronkowski for a play. I don't know what that was about. Travis Hunter, I'm not going to lie. You guys probably should stop playing him at corner in late game scenarios, especially when he's been playing wide receiver all day, because teams tend to target him exactly when it's the worst time for him to be targeted. The Bengals did it last week, I noticed, and this week I definitely noticed that the Texans were throwing the ball to his direction, and then when they didn't, they just threw an interception. So, CJ Stroud, congratulations. You're putting up worse numbers than Caleb Williams as of late, and I don't know how to feel, man. I don't know how to feel. Can the real CJ Stroud please stand up, man? Because there's no way this is you. This can't be the same guy. This can't be the same guy we watched his rookie season. This can't be the same guy watched the beginning of his sophomore season. It can't be. Trevor Lawrence, hey, bro, you better thank God for that defense, man. You better thank the heavens for that defense. Because the Jags defense is actually pretty legit, I can't lie. Besides the collapse in Cincinnati, they've held opponents to, few scores. They let the Panthers score 10, the Texans score 10. In late game, they definitely clutched up against the Texans. So, again, Trevor Lawrence better thank the heavens for that offense. If we go up to Minnesota and Cincinnati, man, what else to say? Carson Wentz returned to a starting job, after J.J. McCarthy got injured and also played like ass. And, he cruises to a nice victory in his first little comeback. He got his first little game there against Cincinnati defense, but still, his defense did also score 21 points. But that's besides the point, all right? They gave me 36 fantasy points, by the way, the Vikings team. Jesus Christ. I mean, they are a cold group of Negroes, man. That is a tough, stout defense out there. I don't know what else to say, man. We can make the jokes, Jake Browning and the Bengals, they're bad, they're shitty. But, I mean, in reality, Minnesota's defense might be that good. It might be that good. Isaiah Rodgers had the game of a lifetime, man. I don't know who's giving out PFF grades. I don't know why he got a 99.9 as if he didn't have 2 defensive touchdowns, a forced fumble. I don't know what else he has to do. What else do you have to do as a cornerback, to impact the game to get a 100? Man. Just give that man a 100. He literally did everything he could. He scored more points than the Bengals by himself. That's already. You could take away the entire team. Isaiah Rodgers scored more points than the Bengals. As a matter of fact, he scored more points than the Falcons. He scored more points than the Giants. He scored more points than the Packers. He scored more points than the Browns. The Texans scored the same amount of points as the Patriots and the Cowboys. think I'm missing a team there. But blank in my mind, who else can score more points than? Other than that, that's insane.
Speaking of teams that can't make tackles or play coverage correctly, Broncos, Chargers. And honestly, the first start of this game did not look good for the Denver Broncos, because why is Quinton Johnson just torching y'all? This man is coming to the league, and I guess he heard all the allegations of last season where everybody said he has no hands, and I still believe he has no hands. But this man just came out of here and just guns blazing and just said, fuck it, bro. Let me go ahead and bless my fantasy owners this week. Man was hooping, absolutely hooping. Can't say the same about the Chargers secondary, because for some reason, doing their thing, decide to fold. Absolutely fold. All of a sudden, Bo Nix started playing like Peyton Manning. Just dimes. Like watching the skies of Vietnam explode. The same thing could be said for the Broncos defense, because all of a sudden, y'all got the chance to sack Justin Herbert. He's running through the pocket. He finds somebody in the end zone and darts that bitch. Bam. Tie game. Next play. Y'all let Justin Herbert drive down the field and put his team in this. You can't even make this up. I don't know what it is with teams just decide, just fold under like clean sheets first out the dryer when the game is on the line and just stop playing defense. All of a sudden I'm seeing players I ain't never seen before catching passes. I ain't never seen catch passes before. Just 40 yards down the field, 20 yards, another down the field. It was a bad day for both teams defensively, but hey, Chargers get the win after a very brutal second half. Go Chargers, go. Justin Herbert, you very much are playing, very respectable football right now. Hopefully you can keep us up in the postseason. That's all that matters.
I assume Freaky Friday is still happening, considering the start, contrast in Quentin Johnson now and Quentin Johnson then, and CeeDee Lamb now and CeeDee Lamb then. The Freaky Friday might still be on. The start, contrast in Quentin Johnson now and Quentin Johnson then, and CeeDee Lamb now and CeeDee Lamb then. The Freaky Friday might still be on. Who knows? But Arizona, they were officially outed as frauds. Kinda, sorta. Now, San Francisco, don't be wrong, man. San Francisco's not exactly the premier franchise or anything, but that's kind of the point, man. This is a San Francisco team, a very weak secondary, a very weak offense as of late. Well, besides Mac Jones just turning into God for a couple plays and then winning games late, Christian McCaffrey also, helping him out, making his job, 10 times easier. Just throw the ball to Christian McCaffrey, he'll make something happen. That's basically what Mac Jones has been doing. But Ricky Pearsall also had a good game against the Cardinals, and I'll be honest, man. Kyler Murray is given the opportunity to beat up on a bad defense, with their only upsides being the D-line, led by Nick Bosa, and the linebacking core led by Fred Warner. And Kyler Murray just, simply just did not do Arizona any favors in that game. He could have been the guy. He's had a chance to be the guy. I don't know where Arizona goes from here, considering that they've given him a lot of money. They don't really have the opportunity to go get. I just believe they're forced and they're stuck to build around Kyler Murray until the wheels fall off, and that's completely fine. It's fine if they want to do that. I just hope they understand they won't be winning anything of note as long as he is the guy. Because Jalen Hurts, he proved that he can be the guy earlier in that day. He proved that this is what the guy does when things need to be done. Kyler Murray just can't seem to do that at all. No matter who's around, no matter who he's throwing to, he just can't seem to do that. But that's all that needs to be said about that game. Oof, Chicago and Dallas, man. This was stolen from us last week. We could have got this, but the New York Giants stay giant. However, the Chicago Bears, they're not Chicago Bears. They, in fact, stood 10 toes down, man. They stood on business. They stood on it. They allowed themselves to just curb stomp the Dallas Cowboys. They kept the mistakes to a minimum. I don't even think they even turn the ball over. I don't think Chicago turned the ball over. They kept the mistakes to a minimum. You know what I'm saying? Caleb Williams threw like 300 yards on them, 4 touchdowns. There's not much to say about this game besides, Dallas, this does not look good. This is a terrible loss going into Green Bay. Like, this might be the worst loss, especially because Green Bay is off a frustrating loss, and you're getting off an ass beating to Chicago. Something's got to give. Either Green Bay's going to lay belt to ass next week, or Dallas is going to shock the world. But I don't see Dallas doing it, especially because Dak Prescott was benched for Joe Milton at the end of the game. That is the worst thing I believe they could have done in this situation. If they were going to bench Dak Prescott, bench him earlier in the game, bench him in the third quarter. Don't just take him out the game when you're already getting your ass beat. At that point, that's just pouring salt on the wound. Also because I had him in fantasy and I was hoping that he got a garbage time touchdown. But that's besides the point. Jerry, you did this to yourself. You wanted to stop the pass. You wanted to stop the run so much. You succeeded. Now you have to worry about stopping the pass, my brother. My brother in Christ, you have to worry about stopping the pass. Because you have allowed Russell Wilson to have a career game against you. Now you've allowed Caleb Williams to have a career game against you. You better pray to God that Jordan Love doesn't feel like Aaron Rodgers next week. That's all I got to say about that one.
Chiefs, Giants, and do not be fooled by this scoreboard. I don't know what's going on in Kansas City. They look absolutely discombobulated. Like, I don't think this team got no more team chemistry, especially after the ass kicking they got in the Super Bowl. And then you lose to the Eagles again this season. You know, Christian Jones trash talking to Jalen Hurts and then getting told to shut the fuck up. Not a good look for the Chiefs, but you know, they still get the W. For the Giants, Russell Wilson, it's time to hang it up, fam. The football has genuinely left you. There is nothing more you can do for this team. I'm sorry. The football's absolutely left this man. The only positive thing going on for the New York Giants right now is Cam Scatterboo. I can't even say the same thing for Malik Neighbors because Malik Neighbors almost got killed yesterday on national television. This man almost got an S-grade concussion because of a hospital pass. Like, everything going bad could go bad is going bad for the Giants. So I'm gonna really just put you on the game right now. If you're the GM or the owner of the Giants, you're watching this, fire the head coach, fire the OC, fire the DC, fire the special teams coordinator, fire that GM, fire your vice president, fire your janitor, fire your meal preppers, fire everybody on the team. Just overhaul the entire staff. Russell Wilson, void his contract. Let that man retire. The football is no longer with him. Like, you can see when he plays football now. The football has left him. He's straight up. Like, sexy trade fucking Malik Neighbors. Send him down to Miami. Get Tyreek Hill. Get some draft picks. Cam Scatterboo, send him on his way. I don't know, bro. Send that man to the New Orleans Saints, man. The Saints need a running back. The Saints need everything they can have right now. But other than that, man, the Giants organization might be one of the worst ran organizations up there with the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not looking too good in New York right now. With that being said, we move on to the last game of this week's NFL slate. And my God, let's get this out the way. The Detroit Lions, when I say ran through, I mean grabbed and just ran through the Baltimore Ravens defense. Kyle Hamilton, I ain't gonna hold you. It's gonna sound mad racist, but if you don't step up, go back to Korea. The rest of the defense, lock in, please. Lock in. It's getting very out of hand right now. A lot of things that happened should not have happened. First, you blew that lead against the Buffalo Bills. That should have never happened in the first place. Then you let Sonic and Knuckles just run across the field like we're playing Sonic Genesis on PS3. What are we doing? Why is this happening? But that's all I gotta say about the Detroit Lions. First off, before we even get to the Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry, I don't know if you're homophobic. I don't know what you got going on, but you just don't seem to like holding on to footballs or balls in general. But like you're averaging fumbles per game right now. We're in week 3. We're about to hit week 4. It gets to a point. It really gets to a point where it's like, fam, as much as I like watching you play, you getting the ball pushed out your hands like a prepubescent child on national television is not a good look. This man was crashing out on the sidelines. What you mad for? Gang, it was you. You did that. That was you. Man, the Baltimore Ravens, we're in week 3 and they're already in prime postseason form. You know, choking leads, running backs can't hold on to footballs or balls in general for some reason. You know, Derrick Henry's over here just getting assaulted left, right, and center. Lamar Jackson just got sacked 3 times. I don't know. I don't even know what's going on with that offensive line. I guess Aiden Hutchinson is just using his white man powers, just breaking through the double team that they have on him. But I'm gonna be honest, if I'm a Ravens fan, y'all not going to the Super Bowl. I think that window might have officially closed because as of right now, y'all are sitting at the bottom of the division. That's not a good thing. The Steelers and the Bengals are like 1 and 2. Then goes the Browns, and then there's y'all. You being at the bottom of your division when you have Aaron Rodgers, Jake Browning, and Joe Flacco as competitive quarterbacks against Lamar Jackson is not a good sign. It's really not. But that's all I gotta say about that. Man, it's not looking good for Baltimore right now.
And with that wraps up today's video. That wraps up the weekly review, man. Subscribe to the channel. You know, as always, we are on the road to 1,000 because at 1,000 subscribers, I will be dropping the one and only Stephon Diggs diss track. And just so you know how he played this week against the Steelers, Stephon Diggs 3 catches, 23 yards. That's very pissed for, man. You know, you got a kid on the way, man. You got to start balling out. You know what I'm saying? Be a role model. It doesn't make it any better that your brother got put on all 4s on national TV. But I think we covered everything. No, Sid, you have one last thing to say to the people.
Man, anyway, it's gonna be a good week of college football and NFL football this week. We will be live on playback for one of the best games of the season, Alabama taking on Georgia in Athens. Don't miss it. We will also be live the next day to make sure y'all watch the Packers absolutely demolishing the Dallas Cowboys on national television. We will also be having Packers and Cowboys fans in here live with us on playback, so make sure y'all tune in for that. But other than that, that's all I gotta say.
And with that, we out.